Hello y'all, this is Kaiserredux, an independent standalone expansion of the Kaiserreich mod that focuses more on fun and interesting scenarios over grounded lore and realism. In the country selection screen, let's go with the Kingdom of Canada. We're not going to play as them forever, but we have to at the start. The country we're looking to get more involved with later is our southern neighbor, the United States of America. We can't start any focuses yet, I guess, because George V needs to die first. There it is, the death of King George. This unlocks the king's speech focus. Edward VIII is the new king. Just look at his portrait. He's got a top hat and a cigar. The Dominion of Delhi is calling us to arms. Guess we'll go help them fight Afghanistan. America demands war debts from the First World War that the British Empire incurred. We simply cannot do this, so too bad for them. The war between our ally and Afghanistan resulted in a white peace, so that saves us from having to invade a country. The Americans approach us with a compromise on the debt situation. Let's decline this like we did the first time they tried to get us to repay them. William Murray of the Old Democrats is elected to the presidency of the USA. He is a representative of the country's far-right crowd, which itself has a good amount of enemies in the politically divided America. Something big is going down since Murray has gone to the south while MacArthur takes over the USA. Is this a coup or something more? More developments to the south of Canada. The syndicalist combined syndicates of America have appeared, and so has the American Union State, led by Huey Long. Things just keep going downhill for the US of A. Now the territory of Alaska has left the Union. More breakaways in the United States. The Pacific States of America are established, and the Western Command Center becomes an entity as well. The command center seems to be on the side of MacArthur. America is in chaos. A number of governors in the northeastern U.S. ask us to intervene. We will take this request and act upon it, resulting in the Royal Navy going to Puerto Rico and the possible occupation of New England. New England is lightly defended, so we'll strike quickly and seize it to prevent any of the factions nearby from taking it for themselves. With all the different groups having made their presence and agendas clear, the Second American Civil War begins. There will be only one victor and a lot of losers. We bypass the focus, the Americans at war, and we're getting a ton of war declaration transmissions, and there's just a lot. Getting past that, one can see we have control of New England, and we even got upstate New York. The question of New England. We're going to play as New England, but first we got to pick the release New England but ensure loyalty option in order to set up the path we want to go down. We switch countries. We begin led by the Hartford Convention. We have the limited recognition national spirit, and we're a puppet of Canada. Our starting army is 7 divisions. They're all militia, and they each seem to be National Guard units. We have more than enough army commanders with many generals and a couple field marshals. As a whole, it includes people like Adna Chaffee, John F. Kennedy, and John Pershing. We have limited resources for military for the time being, so we're going to make nothing but militia for now. Let's begin the focus tree with New England's future. This will be the way we decide our foreign policy. Thanks to our allies in Canada, a provisional government of New England is set up in Boston. Sadly, not many people in and out of our states believe that we are the legitimate America. We gotta fix that. Invitation to the IEDC, the Imperial Economic Development Council of the Entente faction. We will join in order to help our economy, so to do that we will invest 25 political power. A Governor General is appointed by Canada to oversee our country. This Governor General is the brother of King Edward. His name is Albert Frederick Arthur George. Since we contributed to the IEDC, we can direct advisors from it to some areas. Let's get them to assist with our economy. The AUS declared war on the CSA, and here's the portrait of Albert of Windsor and our new flag, which is similar to the style of the old South Africa flag. A little while back, Albert was sworn in as the Governor General. Today, though, in a surprise move, he is crowned as the King of New England. He officially regards the Republic as dead and becomes an absolute monarch. The Boston Massacre. Tensions are rising, and radical Anglophiles are drawn to H.P. Lovecraft, while the Irish in the country take up arms as well, believing they will be pushed out themselves. The coronation of the king causes everything to blow over, with a large protest taking place in Boston. Canada tries and fails to help the new kingdom. Let's have the citizens stormed the Parliament in the capital. After the massacre, New England entered into anarchy. James Curley and his armies take the north as the Loyalists flee to the south. The Anglos rally to Lovecraft. A civil war has erupted. The Canada-backed Lovecraft and the Providence Society will assume control of the nation, and that will be who we will play as from this point onward. We're just New England again, and we got a new flag. Lovecraft is in charge, with the national populace being our ruling ideology, and we have a couple new national spirits, these being the New England Civil War and Christian resistance. Lovecraft Lovecraft in our history is most known as a writer of horror fiction, being the creator of Cthulhu and such, but on his more personal views as an adult, he was an atheist. He developed the Cosmicism philosophy. He had a high regard for WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. He was an Anglophile and wanted an aristocracy to control the country, this being the USA. Politically, before the Depression, he was more Republican. He voted for Hoover, for example, but after it, he leaned more towards socialism. With that said, he opposed Soviet Marxism and made a system that he called fascism, but had little resemblance to that ideology. H.P. Lovecraft meets Canadian Prime Minister Mackenzie King. Officially, they talked politics, but in private discussed more occult subjects like ghosts and paranormal occurrences. It took 2 regime changes, but we finally got to our foreign policy, which we have a couple options for. Let's choose the bottom one, which is cooperate with the Entente. In the focus tree, let's do God Save the King, and because the national populists are in charge, do Triumph of the Providence Society. We're watching the Second American Civil War. The CSA isn't looking too well. They are losing Illinois and parts of Pennsylvania, but to their credit, they have managed to hold on to New York City. In the focus tree, to address our own Civil War, we'll start deal with Curley's IRA, securing New England, and nationalize electric boat. The last one will kickstart our Navy. Lovecraft gives the Army orders, but officers have trouble carrying them out because he likes reusing papers and it's hard to read everything, so we'll just have the officers interpret the orders as they wish. The Kingdom of Canada declared war on Puerto Rico. Good luck with that. The Pacific States of America signs a peace deal with the federal government of the United States, so they'll exit the war and take pressure off the Western Command Center. Road integration with Canada. What side of the road to drive on, basically? Let's go with on the left to boost their opinion of us. Canada supports the Pacific government. That's a little awkward because we exist and the PSA isn't really doing all that much anyway. Securing New England is complete. That unlocked decisions for us to deal with the Civil War by using a good amount of infantry equipment to secure different states and ultimately use 100 political power to secure all of the country. The Constitutional American Republic declared war on the U.S., who has been dealing with the combined syndicates of America, so they may be off guard when they get attacked. Continuing in the tree, we'll do Project Dunwich Horror, Project Shadow over Innsmouth, The Terror from the Deep, and once those 3 are done, do Into the World, which when that is completed will no longer be a puppet of Canada. A brave Doberman dog named the Jack was able to stop a bomb from going off in Hartford. The dog ran after the would-be perpetrators and pulled down one of the men, leading to his capture. Looking across the world to Europe, Africa, and Asia, we can see a very strong Third International, mainly because they got Russia in the faction. A Lithuanian impressionist writer publishes a book called The Red Flood. The setting in it seems vaguely familiar. After some campaigning and using a decision, we can say we won the New England Civil War. Let's do the focuses, show them our light, prepare for the confrontation, Lovecraft's America, and claim Greater New England. We're going to enter into the Second American Civil War. Our first naval vessel was built, so now we can see what commanders we have, and on that subject we have a lot of admirals. We're making some tougher infantry divisions to fight on the front lines alongside the National Guard militia. Do we let Canadians apply to West Point since we control it? Sure, let's say we need the people. Let's strike at the CSA since they're closest to us. The plan is to push down from upstate New York into Pennsylvania and New York City. New York falls without much resistance to our New Englander militia. Our advance slows as the element of surprise wears off and syndicalist troops arrive to meet our divisions in combat. The next focuses I will do are establish Delta Green, Cult of Providence, a new political machine, and Eldridge Signs. The combined syndicates of America lose more territory to their enemies, I imagine thanks to us in the Entente opening a new front on their borders. The X Brigade, a former FBI agent, wants to establish it. Let's authorize it so he can use his so-called X-Files and the information within them to deal with possible alien life forms. A great hurricane hits our country. This will cause a good amount of infrastructure damage and loss of life. Lovecraft creates a branch within the Delta Green dedicated to the paranormal and the spiritual. Some say this is a waste of tax money, but Lovecraft's word is law and nobody will dare stop him. The New England leader rewrites one of his works, The Shadow over Innsmouth, making it much grander than the original to the point it becomes his magnum opus. We're slowly pushing into the CSA, who has recently lost their capital of Chicago to the car. Going through the focus tree, let's do Destroy the Cult of the Past, See It All Burn. The New Gods. That one gets rid of the Christian resistance national spirit, absorb the cults, warrior society, and lastly, to finish off the branch, Lovecraft's New Order, which will hand us an event-based war support and base stability. The Constitutional American Republic, who had been performing well until now, will have to deal with the internal Black Revolt, who is only currently fighting them at the moment. Where once stood Masonic halls and church circles are replaced with groups adhering to cosmicism, the philosophy of H.P. Lovecraft. It's sort of similar to nihilism, but it typically emphasizes the insignificance of humanity in the universe. Cosmicism continues to rise as different lines of thought develop. Some seek to get humanity to a higher status in the eyes of the extraterrestrial outer gods, while others rage against us and see Lovecraft as providence, the symbol against the forces that threaten civilization and all humankind. We called Canada in to fight more Civil War factions. They're doing sort of okay with the rest of the Entente aiding them. At least they're keeping the enemy busy. That's sweet. We got 3 armored divisions. They're each called the Providence Guard. Absorb the Cults is complete. I guess it gave us 3 Visioneer brigades. I'm not going to complain about free units. We're making our way to the bottom of Lovecraft's political path. We're going to have a fair bit of buffs once we're finished with all the focuses here. The Day of Drawn Daggers. Lovecraft takes action and uses his loyal soldiers to purge groups of people he sees as opponents. He uses this as a way to get more power over the country. The Entente, our allies, moves to reclaim Europe. Gotta say, not a big fan of that move. The Esoteric Order of Dagon is founded. Their goal is to better understand esoteric cosmicist principles through the lens of occult societies in Lovecraft's work. The leader of this group is Wilhelm Reich. To battle the paranormal enemy, the Paranormal Combat Squads have been created. They are large brigades of scientists equipped to deal with ghosts and other spirits. The squads have managed to acquire the nickname of Ghostbusters. We're fighting hard to take the second CSA capital, this being Philadelphia. There is also a battle going on in Atlantic City. That's one enemy down. Now to get through to CAR, who has become the American Empire, and the federal government in DC. A good thing for us is that MacArthur has no manpower left and the American Empire is running on fumes, so they'll have none soon themselves. The federal USA capitulated. The Western Command Center is also being at the same time because they were a subject, and that will let us take out 2 birds with 1 stone. Our offensive into the American Empire begins, and the land out west is mostly lost to the PSA and the AUS. The Entente is really going wild in the American South. The French are in Louisiana again, they're also in Florida, and the Portuguese have taken part of South Carolina and Georgia. They're done, and we're going to fan out and strike at the American Union State, who has been busy fighting the Canadians and the Pacific States of America. Compared to the previous 2 challenges we've had, Huey Long and his country does have a large amount of manpower, but we have an entire faction on our side, and plus our own army on top of that. Progress is being made in the west. The Australasian Confederation has landed and took a bit of the state of Oregon. We're chipping away at the AUS. We've already got their capital of New Orleans, and they are slowly losing the manpower advantage they once had. Long and his followers fell. That leaves the Pacific States led by Upton Sinclair, who is weaker military-wise than the AUS was when we started fighting them. Since the Entente and the Third Internationale are at war, there are Mexicans and Canadians fighting each other in southern Texas. New England forces are carving their way to the cities of Sacramento, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. We take Sacramento, and soon we will take San Francisco. Once that is done, the war will be over. They are annexed, and with that we fully control the 48 contiguous U.S. states and Guantanamo Bay, just in case you're wondering. America is reunited thanks to H.P. Lovecraft, or Providence as some people call him. As a result of this reunification, the country of New England shall be renamed to the Sovereign Order of America. By using a decision, we get Alaska to rejoin America. I don't think we can get Hawaii because they are in the Entente faction with us. Look upon the Sovereign Order of America. It has a new flag and it's led by the King in Yellow himself, H.P. Lovecraft. Who can oppose him? The video is going to stop here. If you enjoyed the mod, make sure to check it out in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Have an awesome day. I'll see y'all later. Bye.